Hey, welcome to The Drive for Thursday, May 6, 2021. And in yesterday's episode, we were talking about why we're using reflection as the big idea for this month. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about what it might look like in the classroom. And one of the things I love about this, I'd say reflection goes in with a handful of other practices that are very research backed that don't take a whole lot of time but have huge rewards. I'd put this right in there with retrieval practice, which I know we'll talk about some, that really helps students learn things long term. But reflection is just like that. It's one of these little things where if we think to do it and we plug it in different places, and sometimes it's just as simple as adding an extra little prompt at the end of class or an exit ticket or, having a quick little discussion. We can plug student reflection in where they think about, how am I doing as a learner? What was hard? What was easy? What could I do differently next time? How does this content fit in my, overall big picture of everything? When we do those little things like that, the ripple effects start to show up way downstream, And so what we want to do in this particular episode is share just a couple of examples of how you can plug this in super quickly and easily into class.
So I want to start, Matt, on this with something I did wrong at the beginning when I wanted to add reflection to my classroom. Mm-hmm. And so I was working at a school that required reflection at the end of every unit. And so it was these questions that kids would fill out. And when I got technology, I was like, I'll put that in a Google form, which sounds great and wonderful. Sure. But then it was the same questions and the kids were filling out Google Forms, and it was like watching mummies type. They were like, yeah, whatever. I did this good and whatever. So when technology caught up with what I was trying to do, I would use Flipgrid, and I would have kids reflect into Flipgrid at the end of each unit. And I made each student their own Flipgrid, so they weren't seeing each other's reflections, mm-hmm. and they went to their own individual Flipgrid and kept reflecting on it. So I'm just saying, I don't know if what I did with Google Forms at first was great. Mm-hmm. Up to you, but it didn't have that just talking about it. It's like a kid coming to my desk and sitting down and me asking them, so hey, what'd you do great today? Mm-hmm. Instead of this form that they're filling out at the end of every unit. So just a caution there. And one of the things that I really love, and I'm going to be dropping into the Facebook group today, and this is why we have this podcast, so you'll know when I drop something in or we drop something in, but it's this product where a kid, and it was for art class, but she takes her favorite things that she did in art class, she puts them into Google Slides, and then she uses Screencastify to talk about them. And as you watch this in the Facebook group this evening, or whenever you watch it, I want you to notice that she has written next to her art thing that she's talking about, she has written what she did best, but when she's talking about it, she doesn't just read from the slide. She actually off the cuff talks about why she did this, what color she brought in, and what she was thinking during the process. And you're going to love seeing this video because it's super easy. Google Slides, I brought in my product, I wrote a little bit about what I liked about it, and then I just explained to you my teacher. Think of how much learning is happening as she does that, and how easy it is to have. Every kid can do Google Slides now. I just don't know any kid who can't. And Screencastify is basically free, up to 5 minutes. So these are great tools.
Yeah. One of the things I love about that video, because I've gotten to watch it too, is you can hear the excitement in this girl's voice. She talks about, what she did and what she liked about it and everything. And that's what you get when, the students are talking from their heart instead of reading off of a slide, which I think is
like,
huge.
I love.
I know. I love when she does that. That makes me so happy. It's like, oh, this is why, and it's a little bit of like, this is why we teach, And so that's one cool practice that you can definitely use, and you get to see Holly's example. So that one is kind of like connect the dots, like help students to be able to connect the dots and say why they did what they did, and here's what it is, and giving them a place to do that. And I think having some slides, and recording it.
What I'm most proud of. Go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, exactly. And being able to record that with some slides on, a simple screen recording tool like Screencastify is great. Number 2 is to help the next class. Help the next class. And right now is a great time to be able to do that. If you take a moment and do something as simple as like low tech, write on a piece of paper, or even a little more tech enhanced of record a video or whatever, like what would you have? You could ask students, what do students next year need to know about this class or about this grade? You know, like if you're coming into 8th grade, what do we need to know about 8th grade or any of that stuff? Because what's neat about that is it's a very authentic prompt. You want to help the next class of kids. So it's not something forced where the teacher's saying, I want you to do this. And it's like, I would never really do this in real life. This is authentic, you know? There's a clear and obvious audience for it. But then when they do the activity, what can you tell the next class that they need to know? When they do the activity, it is a naturally reflective process. So they're starting to think, you know, I would do this. I would suggest that they do this. And it's all based on what their experiences were. So that's a teeny tiny little activity that you could do in a day, in a fraction of a day, something like that. Even if it's just write it down on index cards, if it's recorded in a Flipgrid video, if it's, you know, make a slide deck where everybody has a slide or whatever. This is a super easy way to help them reflect back on the year, but also produce something for an audience that's helpful.
So you said something, Matt, that I want to point out here. So you said like they could do it on a slide deck. And I thought to myself, that's good. Everyone knows how to use slide decks. But you know what? May should be the month where we learn a new tool, something we're not comfortable with, so that we can bring it into 2021, 2022 school year. So whatever that tool is that you don't know, maybe it's Canva because you can record in Canva. Maybe it's Book Creator. You haven't used it. Maybe you find some tool to do that in that gets you low stakes. It's just a little fun reflection activity, and you get to learn that tool as well. Your students will teach you. But it's really important right now to think about that you've got to model reflection. So giving kids questions and the answering it is like a worksheet. You don't want to do that. You want to be like during the process of that learning, say, so what is going well here, and help them think about and be like, light bulb. Oh yeah, we're going to have to talk about that. So yeah, this is what's going well. Or how you might reflect on your own teaching practice. Like, you know, yesterday didn't go the way I did, so I rolled with it, or I wanted it to, so I rolled with it. You've got to model reflection, because in our society, we're not big reflectors. And we know this because we keep making some mistakes over and over. So we need to start reflecting, and that's got to be modeled, especially for kids. So you've got to think about that. Give them examples of what it looks and sounds like. And if a kid gives a really good reflection, and most of mine are done in Flipgrid, ask that kid, can I show that? You know, and have these mentor texts around what reflection looks like. And you said this in the last episode, I think, Matt, but the kids are not going to be good at it at first. And because they're not good at it, I don't want you to give up. I want you to keep trying, because they'll get really good at it. It'll knock your socks off. I've had some reflections that have made me cry. And I've been really, really nice about my teaching. And I need that every once in a while. Yeah, absolutely. Related to reflecting or modeling reflection to your students, I think it's important for us to be vulnerable and for them to see our process and see that we go through those processes the exact same way as them, that, you know, we sort of wrestle with things too. So one more time, the 3 practices we talked about, helping students connect the dots. That was Holly's art Screencastify video idea. Help the next class. What advice can we give the next class? And then also modeling reflection out loud, showing students what it looks like when we do it or when each other does it. And in tomorrow's episode, we're going to be giving you some resources, some templates, and some prompts that you can use that you can plug into class right away. So we will see you in that next episode.